in hunting, and outdoorsman. Well, Jacob, this is terrible. Jacob was a mild man remaining in tents. What kind of impression does that give you?
The wrong.
What kind of impression? The wrong one. But what kind of impression? A mild man? Kind of maybe effeminate, a little weak, not very rough and tumble, right? Doesn't it give you that impression? Even the Tree of Life version shocks me with this interpretation. This is terrible interpretation for what's in the Hebrew. In fact, let's talk about that. Next slide, please. A plain or peaceable man of the tents, or as this says, a mild man. The Hebrew word, sound familiar? I just use it, is tam, tav, mem. It means, now this is their interpretation in English. This is what it says in Hebrew, and they say mild man. Perfect, complete, one who lacks in nothing in physical strength? Yes. So he's not a mild man, maybe a peaceable man. There's a difference between peaceful and mild. Now, if you said a temperate man, somebody who controls himself, somebody who's meek, because meekness is not weakness. Meekness is great strength held in check. Now, perhaps he's like that. Maybe he's a bit of a, I don't need to show off. Okay? Why? Because he lacks nothing in physical strength, wholesome, morally and ethically pure, and having integrity. That's who Jacob is. Now, this interpretation of Esau is equally as bad. Oh, he's a man knowledgeable in hunting and an outdoorsman. That's a very, sounds like my kind of guy, right? No. Let's go on to the next slide, please. See if I have it. I didn't put it there, but I know what it says, and I'll just tell you. Okay, I can't believe I missed Esau. Esau, or Jacob I loved, Esau I hated, and that's God speaking. Okay, some people, I've heard some interpretations where, that just means he favored Jacob over Esau. I go, no, Esau was not a good man. Here's where we go. Okay, where is it? Did I have it on the first page? Let's see. I can do it from, that's where it is. It says that Esau in Hebrew was a Gabor Zaid. What they say, a mighty hunter before God, a man knowledgeable in hunting, an outdoorsman. A Gabor Zaid. Gabor could mean hero. It can also mean a destroyer, someone who kills or murders. Okay? He was a Gabor Zaid. Zaid is another word for two things. A he-goat, somebody who's an ambusher, somebody who is deceptive, somebody who is another destroyer, but it's a word that's used for devils. So one way you could interpret these two words for Esau is he was a devil tyrant. And it says a mighty hunter before the Lord in English. It's not before the Lord. It's panim. He was a devil tyrant in God's face. In other words, he was so brazenly rebellious, he was thumbing his nose at God brazenly and did whatever he wanted. And this is the son that Isaac favored. Right? And you go, Isaac, what's wrong with you? Now, I want you to note something. In Isaac's later years, he suffered an issue, didn't he? He was blind. He couldn't see. And many commentators say this is indicative of the obvious spiritual blindness that he had for his two sons. You had a righteous son, obviously righteous. You had an unrighteous son, obviously unrighteous, and you're favoring the unrighteous one. That's a spiritual blindness. And the result, they say, and I tend to agree with, is God was like, I think I'll let that play out in your body as well. Okay? And in fact, I'll use that blindness to bless the right son. Okay? And so here's what happens. And the reason I have Nimrod up here is for a reason. See, Nimrod was around. He was the king of Babylon, remember? The king of Babel. This is the Tower of Babel, okay? He was around. He was a contemporary of Abraham, tried to kill Abraham several times in the Jewish writings. He knew Abraham, he knew of Isaac, and he knew Jacob and Esau. He was still around then, okay? In fact, he was one of the kings that got defeated. He didn't get killed there. He got killed somewhere else. Now, to be clear about who Nimrod is, Nimrod's name means rebellion, okay? He got a name changed too. You see him, Nimrod is called the king of Babylon. Here's how evil he was. You know, you had the Nephilim prior to the flood, which was the mating of fallen angels, certain type of angels. You had the three types, the cherubim, the seraphim, and the teraphim. The teraphim can take human form for extended periods of time. They can look like you and me. A teraphim could walk in here, look like any one of us, and sit down in a chair. Okay? Have a meal, eat oneg with us, hang out, have conversation, and we may not ever know. Okay? But here's what's interesting. The fallen ones, Satan and Abaddon, the two fallen cherubim, convinced to get a group of those fallen angels. This is in the book of Enoch, because Enoch was sent to judge them. He got these fallen ones, fallen teraphim, a certain group, not all of them, to mate with evil human women from the line of Cain and produce offspring. But Adam, angels can't do that. I go, not angels in heaven, because it's unrighteous. But the fallen ones did, but not that cherubim can't do that. Seraphim can't do that. But teraphim that can take human form and eat and sleep and be like us for extended periods, they can do that. Why did God allow it? Well, that's a bigger question. But they created the Nephilim, which are absolutely evil. Nephilim are the giants, the Goliaths, right? And worse. Guess what? They're irredeemable. The Nephilim are responsible for all the corruption and death and destruction, along with fallen man who rejected God, because they all joined the Nephilim, and they're bred with them. It's a corrupt line, okay? That's what Noah, when it says Noah and his family were the only ones that didn't get corrupted, the word there for corrupt means morally and genetically. They did not marry into the Nephilim line. They were pure. They were humans. They weren't corrupted by the evil physically and morally and spiritually. Your hands up. Yes.
So wasn't that same word tamim, used to describe Noah?
Yes.
As faultless, blameless, unblemished. Same word applied
exactly.
to
Same
Yaakov.
word to describe Jacob. Yes. Okay. So here's what's interesting. What does this have to do with anything? Nimrod got a name change too. Nimrod got his name changed to Amraphel. Amraphel is called the king of Shinar. Shinar is it was a huge, when you look at ancient Shinar, it was from the Euphrates River, right where Iraq is, all the way east, covering all of China now. Massive. That was Nimrod. That was Amraphel. That was Babylon. Babylon was huge. Huge kingdom. Nimrod restarted the Nephilim after the flood. See, all the Nephilim were destroyed in the flood. It restarted with Nimrod. He served Satan. He was a high sorcerer, evil, child sacrifice, debauchery, perversion, high sorcery, married his own mother and made her the queen. Okay? It's vile. And fallen angels. Where do you think he got his power from? Satan, the enemy. And started re-perpetrating the Nephilim. How do they do that? Getting other fallen teraphim to commit the same deed. Otherwise, where did Goliath come from? Because Goliath wasn't, everybody thinks, well, that's a lone figure. No, you had whole Nephilim tribes. They all took over Israel, right? The Canaanites. A lot of those were Nephilim tribes. Those are the ones, the Nephilim tribes are the ones that God said, hey, by the way, when you go in there, you go in and here's the tribes you wipe out, every last man, woman, and child. Why? Because they're Nephilim. They're evil, irredeemable, so evil it's beyond our imagination. And if you want me to recount all the things that happened on October 7th against Israel, all the vile deeds, too evil to even recount in detail here. It was beyond description. They're doing that kind of stuff and worse, okay, in this time and beyond. See, when we say this, just to give you an idea, was Nazi Germany bad? Is the evil atrocities that the Nazis did against the Jews and other people bad? It's horrible. Never before seen on this scale. Do you know what the Jews said about Hamas and what they did and the Nazis? They said not even the Nazis were this bad. The Nazis didn't do some of the things that the Hamas is doing. It's beyond description. Okay? Now imagine whole people groups that are like that and have been that way for generations and hundreds of years. Those are the ones God says, don't even talk with them, wipe them out. They're a blemish. They're pure evil. So, all this having to do with Nimrod, he's the culprit that's responsible for bringing that all back into play. Okay? Now, what does this have to do with Esau? Ready for this? It's real interesting. So, Esau, this is in the book of Jasher, which is an extra biblical book. But when you read it, you're going to go, oh my gosh, that's scripture. Oh my gosh, that happened. Oh my gosh, yeah, that's the details within this scripture over here. Read the book of Jasher. I highly recommend it. You're shaking your head. Yeah. How is it? Pretty awesome, isn't it? It's got a lot of details about things that are sometimes just a sentence. Right? Book of Jasher, chapter 27. Esau killed Nimrod. Esau's the one responsible. Now, what I just described to you, what Esau's like and his character, kind of sounds like Nimrod, doesn't it? Now, watch this. Esau killed Nimrod. Nimrod had a dream that Abraham would be responsible for his death, that the seed of Abraham would kill him. Nimrod was hunting with two of his guards. Esau saw him, hid and ambushed him, drew his sword and beheaded Nimrod. He fought the two guards and won. He took Nimrod's garment and fled. The story details that the garment that God fashioned to cover the nakedness of Adam was passed down to Enoch. You know what happened to Enoch? Walked with God and then was no more, meaning he was taken alive. And that garment from Enoch came to Noah. Then Ham stole it and gave it to Cush, who is the father of Nimrod. Nimrod wore it because he believed it gave him strength. Esau desired it for the same reason. So what did he kill Nimrod for? For a garment. According to Jasher, this story is the background to Esau coming to the camp of his father and demanding stew. He just came back in from the field killing Nimrod. And so when he comes in, I'm tired. I'm worn out. Now it says, where was Jacob? Tending the camp stew. Right? He was. Now let me explain something to you in ancient custom. Semitic and Hebrew custom. The firstborn son was supposed to be the inheritor of the double portion. Any son after that would get a single portion. Okay? Jacob's the younger. So he should get the single portion. The double portion, the biggest, the best, should go to Esau. Here's a problem. In ancient culture, the firstborn son should be the one managing the father's estate, not going out gallivanting around in the fields doing whatever he wants. He should be the one staying amongst the camp, taking care of the animals, taking care of the servants, making sure the camp stew is available for everyone to eat, because when people come in from all their work, they don't want to wait for food. They've been working for Dad. The one who is responsible is supposed to be the firstborn. Esau was irresponsible in shirking his duties, not once, every time. So what is Jacob doing? Fulfilling the responsibilities of the firstborn son. Why? Because he's a man of integrity. He's not fighting his brother. He's going, you're a dirtbag. I'll take care of it. He's doing what's righteous. Hands up over here. Yes.
I'm curious about the garment. Is it just a garment or is it a priestly garment?
Well, the Hebrew word is a katan. As I talked about this earlier when I was going through Genesis, it's a tunic that comes to about the knees, sleeved tunic. So I would hazard a guess, just by nature, that it was a garment that was crafted by God's own hands, that it takes on a certain mystical, religious perspective from human eyes. That's the garment God made. Surely it's got to be miraculous. Surely it's got to be some kind of attributes to this thing. It's valuable. We want it. Now, could it have been plain? Possibly. It wouldn't surprise me if it was a plain garment. It wouldn't surprise me if it was very beautiful. Because did God make anything that isn't beautiful? No. God is very complex and intricate and creative. It wouldn't surprise me if it was a beautiful garment. But the fact that it was made by the hand of God himself is what probably made it valuable. Otherwise, why would Ham steal it from Noah? Why would he give it to Cush? And then Cush gives it to Nimrod. And now Esau going, I want that. It should belong to us anyway, right?
Is there any possibility that that was the garment that Jacob wore when he went into his father?
No, I don't think so. I doubt that. Because the way it says it was, they say it was almost like a hide or a skin. Not that it was a garment itself, but that would be interesting. I've never read anything about that, but that would be interesting. That would be really interesting. That'd be very poetic. But here's what's interesting here. According to Jasher, the story is the background of Esau coming to the camp of his father and demanding stew from Jacob because he was dying. Remember? Oh, I'm dying. Right? If true, then he was trying to force Jacob to serve him. See, obviously Esau knew the prophecy that the older would serve the younger. So here's Esau, the unrighteous guy, shirking his responsibilities and duties, doing evil things. He's a destroyer, devil, tyrant, God's face, right? A destroyer. He's going out murdering, though I'm sure Nimrod had it coming, right? I'm not sad that that took place. But how like the enemy's kingdom, a house divided against itself, right? Killing each other all the time. Not in defense of God, not in defense of, right, what's righteous or good and true, right? To defend your family and your loved ones, but for their own, what? Their own greed, their own covetousness, their own pride, their own ego, whatever it is, right? Their own evil sense of power. How just like the enemy's kingdom. So here's Esau doing this, comes into the camp after this, and demands of the brother who is doing his duties, you serve me. And so no wonder Yaakov's response, remember, he's the heel catcher. Oh, you want to fight? Okay, we'll fight. But you picked the wrong guy. I'm fighting for real. I won't give up. What does he do? Deal. I'll give you some of the red stew, red brother. I'll give you some of the stew. Give me the birthright. In other words, give me the double portion. I'm doing your job, been doing it all my life. I'm doing the responsibilities and the duties of the priest, so I get the double portion. And what's Esau's response? No way, that's mine. Does he say that? No. What does he say? I don't care about that. Take it. Because obviously he has no intention of letting him have it. He's lying. Fine. He goes, okay, deal. Now, you think, well, they didn't write up a contract. No, your word was your bond. It was legally binding. They made a deal. They struck it right there. It's legally binding. Okay? Before you think otherwise, when Jacob goes in disguised as bro, because what was Isaac going to do? Isaac was going to, remember, Esau came in, Dad, I want the double portion. I want the blessing. He goes, go get me some venison. Go get me some meat. See, Isaac had an appetite, and Esau was constantly filling his appetite. Okay? See, here's how it worked in ancient times. You didn't bless the firstborn son in secret. It was a public thing that you did in front of the entire camp, in front of the entire family. That's how it was done. So this was a conniving going on between father and son, a secret deal. Give me the blessing in secret, so basically I can circumvent Jacob. I haven't been fulfilling the responsibilities, but see, once you give me the blessing, which is only by word of mouth, by the way, but it's legally binding. When you see this, you'll see what this is done anytime. It says, put your hand under my thigh. That's what they would do. A son would put their hand right here under the dad's thigh and make his blessing. It meant it's legal. It's a covenant. We have just made a covenant and it will last. That's why once Jacob did that and he got the blessing, Esau's like, "Bleh." I always used to say before I knew this stuff, I went, why not just say, hey, he lied to you, take it back. All you got to do is say, oh, he deceived me? Oh, then forget it. It's yours. No. Once it was spoken, it was a deal done. You couldn't take it back. That's how it was understood. It was a spiritual, legally binding thing. You can't go back. He goes, don't you have anything for me? Right? He is in tears when he finds out. And he goes, no, son, I thought it was you. So they were going to commit the evil that was not to be done. They were going to be deceptive, lying, deceitful, conniving. Now, we know that Rivka was kind of egging Jacob on. Jacob could have been like, no, that's not the right thing. No. And so some people and some commentators give, Jacob did the wrong thing. I don't know if I entirely agree. I'm kind of half and half, to be honest with you. But he lied, and I go, is it okay to lie to save a life? Is it okay to, no, well, come on, Adam, really? It's okay to sin? I'm not saying that. If Nazis come in here now and tell me, is Mark Ernst here? We're here to kill him. And I said, nope, haven't seen him today. In fact, I heard he was going on vacation. Is that an evil thing I've done or a good thing? Or should I go, well, I cannot tell a lie, he's sitting right there. And then they pull their guns and kill him. Who's responsible for that? Me. Remember, there are only three things in Hebraic understanding in Torah that you're to die for. Don't commit idolatry. Don't bow to another god. Not on pain of death. Not to save your own life. Don't commit murder, which that would, if I told them where he was, I'm now responsible for that murder. Do not commit murder. And don't commit sexual immorality. Those are the three things you're to die for. Everything else, wearing tzitzit on your garments, while holy and good and true, if you're going to be killed for it, put it on an undergarment and tuck it in your pants where they can't see it. Why? Because we're told in Torah, these commands you are to live for. The only three that violates your relationship with God, with your fellow man, and with yourself, those are the ones you're to die for. Those three. Everything else is negotiable depending on the situation. Adam, how can you say that? I go, easy. Is it okay to work on the Sabbath? Yes or no?
Yes and no.
Technically, no. Unless there's a greater command that gets in the way. What's the greater command? Circumcision. That was the big debate. What if the 8th day for the circumcision of your firstborn son or your sons falls on a Sabbath? Do you keep the Sabbath and not do the circumcision when God commanded? Or do you do the circumcision? You know what the decision was? And God approved. You have the circumcision. That's the greater command. To enter your sons into covenant is greater than resting on the Sabbath. That doesn't mean you can violate Sabbath whatever you feel like on a whim. It means when there's a greater principle, godly principle in place. Can you help a neighbor in need? Or a neighbor's donkey who falls into a pit? What does God say? Keep the Sabbath unless, what about the neighbor's donkey? He goes, help the life. Because the commands are given to preserve life. Except the three. You don't violate those. Well, they said they're going to kill me unless I bow to this God. Oh, you really want to deny God as your father and worship Satan? You think that's going to save your life? No, you're going to lose your soul. Don't do that. Okay? Those you die for. So, would it be okay? See, this is the big question. And I ask this from this Hebraic perspective. Is it okay if dad's going to do an irreparable harm that will affect the entire family line for generations? Is it okay for Jacob to lie and pose as the brother? To play the game that dad's playing? Dad's the deceptive one. Is it okay? Some say yes, some say no. And I'm like, maybe, maybe not. I don't know. All I know is this. Did Jacob pay for it? Yes, he did. He made a decision. Do I think it was entirely unrighteous? No, I'm undecided. But he did pay for that decision, didn't he? The consequences he bore. He had to flee the family because his brother was going to kill him. I'll get to you. He was going to flee the family. He had to flee for many years. He went to his mom's brother, Laban, right? And then said, hey. And Laban now perpetrated this deception on Jacob. Hey, I'd like to marry Rachel. She's beautiful. But my firstborn daughter, no. Rachel. Okay, deal. And then he disguises Leah, marries her unknowingly, wakes up next to her, is like, that's not who I married. Where's Rachel? He goes, well, if you want her, you got to work. First, you got to work for me for 7 years. And then, if you want Rachel too, you got to work for me for another 7 years on top of it. So did he pay a price? Yeah. It's like he had it played back on him. Do you think he learned his lesson? Yes, he did. Because when he came back, all those years later, it's like, we're going back home. He realized after all those years, Esau, he's like, we got a little bit of a problem. Going back, Esau's coming with a whole bunch of armed men. Yeah, he's probably going to kill me. So I'm going to send the women and children ahead of me. At first you go, you little dirtbag. Why would you do that? He's realizing, no manly man is going to kill women and children. He'll show mercy to them. I'm going to hang back and have a conversation with God and ask for his help. Because when Jacob left at Mount Moriah, using a rock as a pillow, God appeared to him and said, this is the spot where Abraham was going to sacrifice Isaac. And look what you can see in the spirit realm. A staircase coming down from heaven right here on this spot. This is the spot where God and angels go to and fro. This is the spot where God is. And now, right here on this spot, I made a promise to your father Abraham. I made a promise to your father Isaac, which is in the previous chapter. And now that same promise and more I'm going to give to you. Will you follow me? Yes, as long as you never leave me. He goes, deal. And then Jacob makes a sacrifice to God of wine and bread broken on a rock. That's all he had. And he flees, and he comes back, and now he's going to have a conversation with God on a bridge. And lo and behold, some people will say, well, it was an angel that appeared to him. I go, really? An angel? I go, how come when he, after getting through wrestling this angel, that Jacob went, oh my gosh, I just saw God face to face and lived. He realized it was Yeshua. This is God in the flesh. This is the God that appeared to Abraham, and they had a conversation. This is the God that appeared to Isaac. This is, oh gosh. And here he shows up to me, and he realized it was God. How? Because he wrestled him all night long. The wimpy boy who lacks nothing in strength. He wrestled him all night long, pinned him, and said, as dawn was coming up, what does Yeshua say? Let me up. He goes, not until you bless me. I want my blessing. I've paid my dues. I've gone double. 14 years, paid my dues. I have built my character up even further. I love you. I've agreed. I've followed through on our covenant. I want the blessing, please. Isn't that what he basically did with his father? But he didn't do it in secret and conniving. He did it up front, face to face, wrestled it out. And God said what? He dislocated his hip, and he said, I'm still not letting go. And he goes, okay, no longer are you Yaakov. No longer are you heel catcher. Now you are Israel. One who contends with God, wrestles with God. You're going to be the warrior of God and the one who fights with God for what? For what's righteous. That's where we come from. You're part of that lineage, whether you're Jewish or not, because you've accepted the Mashiach. Do you understand? Your hands up, yes.
I was wondering why Jacob didn't just tell Isaac that Esau had sold him the birthright.
Why Jacob didn't tell Esau?
Yeah.
I'm sorry, say that again?
Yeah. So
because he realized Esau would have killed him on the spot. In other words, either one, he was afraid of his brother, or two, I don't think he wanted to fight against his brother because he probably realized he'd have to kill his brother to win. Do you get it? I don't think it's obvious to me that despite this contention he had with Esau, he didn't want ill will against his brother. He didn't want to kill his brother. Do you understand? Who wants to commit patricide, right? That's my opinion, and I think that played a part. Why didn't he say it? He's like, well, first off, mom was going, you better get the heck out of here. Your brother's so mad he's going to kill you, right? And he's probably like, oh, great. One, that's not comfortable. And two, to win off to kill him. No. I'm going, right? Mom was telling him. Obviously, mom had his ear, right? And her wisdom probably played a part. And obviously, mom was like, yeah, just avoid and keep rolling. Do you get it? That's my opinion. I think that's how it's playing out. Whatever was going on, there was obviously a lot of family issues and contention with Jacob, or Isaac, Rebekah, Esau, Jacob. And you see that playing out later with Jacob's family. Jacob, Leah, Rachel, right? And then the two handmaidens. He has 12 sons, and how will his sons treat each other? Worse than he and his brother treated each other, right? And that was bad enough, because even Jacob does the very same thing that his father did. He favors one son over the other sons, right? And that plays a part, which God's going, and people always ask me, well, why did God intervene? I'm like, oh, he did. He intervened to go, oh, I'll use this. I'll work my will through this. In fact, I'm going to do something so miraculous that I'm going to build the character of the righteous ones and even bring some correction to the unrighteous ones, right? Because he loves them all. And they all have a destiny, but he's like, some are going to be highlighted than the others. So the ones who get highlighted are the ones that are really righteous, who deal with their own stuff on the inside. That's why Jacob, like Abraham, Isaac didn't get a name change. Abram got a name change. Jacob got a name change. Why? Because they grew in God. They developed good fruit. They dealt with the issues that were in their soul. Okay? Still not perfect, but they dealt with some big issues. Kevin.
And you've mentioned before the reason that is recorded for us, what they were eating, what Yaakov was preparing, and why.
Go ahead. You know.
It was lentil stew.
Yep.
And that was the traditional meal prepared when you were celebrating the passage of someone from this world to the next. Who was it that was moving on?
Who? Who was it? No, go ahead. You're on it. Kevin, give it. Go ahead.
It was the passing of Abraham.
That's right. Yep.
That's why Yaakov was doing the priestly duty of making the meal, the mourner's meal.
Because he honored Abraham. He was the righteous son. Okay? Esau didn't care. Okay? Any other questions? Is this all news to you? I know some of you have heard me talk about some of this before. Very, very different, isn't it? Once I learned this stuff, 25 years ago or more, I never see Jacob the same way again. Because I used to hear what pastors would say. And they would, he's the sniveling, whiny mama's boy. That's what I would hear. And so I had this image. And you know how people would use that? See, that's the Jewish people. And they would attribute that to the Jewish people. See, they're just like their forefather, Jacob. And once I go, hold up. I go, what a perversion. Actually, Esau's the dirtbag when you start reading. And it's very clear in the Hebrew, but masked in the interpretations. And I'm surprised at Tree of Life. But I have yet to see any interpretation that interprets it correctly. There is nothing else these words mean in Hebrew. Okay? Guess who else was called the Gabor Zaid, a evil devil tyrant in God's face? Nimrod. It's the same word that's used of Nimrod. He's a mighty hunter before the Lord. There was nothing good about him. Nothing. And that's the same word used for the words used for Esau. He's completely evil. And when you keep reading about Esau, if I had time, I'd do more, but keep reading about Esau. He marries into the Nephilim tribes. He marries women from the Nephilim tribes. And his parents are like, you cannot do this. This is evil. It's corrupt. And even then, they kind of hold it over him. Hey, where's my side of the inheritance? Give me something. And they're like, you need to marry the right kind of women. So he doesn't divorce them. He keeps those evil women and grabs one or two more. Right? Not from the evil line, but from there. See, I did it. See, he is an evil man all the way through. Now you understand when it says, Jacob I love, Esau I hated. God's going, this guy's a dirtbag. Seriously, I'm not saying he didn't have any love for Esau, but he's going, how can I work with this? Right? You're off the rails, right? Thumbing your nose in God's face brazenly, murdering, stealing, conniving, killing. Guess who came from Esau's line? The Edomites. Guess who, not all, but guess who a lot of the modern day Arabs are today? They're mixed race. Some are good, but some are Edomites. They're the descendants of Esau. And they tend to be the ones like Hamas who keep trying to murder God's chosen people. Still to this day. So this battle between Jacob and Esau is still going on after 4,000 years? Do you realize the things we see in the world today, the drama going on, all started here? Do you get it? That's why I keep saying, this is God's story. It's not our story, it's God's story. We're in his story. And it's still being played out. We get to be part of the drama. Okay? Because God's not done yet. Yes, hand up.
I was just curious. I understand the perspective that the father favored Esau, right?
Okay.
But what makes you so sure that he was aware of what was said that day to where they were sort of conniving together, right? I hear your perspective.
You're saying who was aware? That Isaac was aware?
Yeah.
What makes him aware?
Yeah, because he wanted to bless Esau, right? He didn't want to bless Jacob.
Right.
But
Right.
what, that would be.
How does he know it was?
Yeah, how does he know that sort of word covenant was made and that he gave up his birthright? What makes you sure of that? I'm curious.
That Isaac knew that? Or that
Yeah.
Esau knew that?
No, that Isaac knew that.
Isaac knew because Esau came in and said, okay, Dad, here's the meat that we talked to you about. He goes, what are you talking about? You were just here. I blessed you. He goes, what?
Oh, no. So he found out later. Right.
Yes,
Okay. So
right.
from your teaching, I was confused because that had been my original perspective, but then I was
No,
misunderstanding.
I'm sorry if
No,
I
that's
gave you
okay.
the wrong impression. No,
Yeah.
he did find out later. See,
Yeah, he found out too late.
they made the deal, Isaac and Esau. Esau went out to go get some, right? Go hunt some deer and get some meat. And then mom heard this. She overheard this deal they made, went to Jacob, said, you better get in there now because your brother's getting ready to steal the birthright. Okay. So covered him with the goat's hair. He went in. He pretended he was Esau. Remember, they're twins. So I'm going to guess, even though he's blind, they probably had a similar timbre of voice, probably sounded alike or something, right? I'm assuming.
Mm-hmm.
Otherwise, Esau's really not paying attention or maybe getting on in old age. But he pretends he's his brother Esau. He gets the blessing, and then he bails, and mom's like, you better get out of here because your brother's going to be mad.
Thank you. That's what I had originally understood. But then when you were discussing like the aspect of him, my brain went blank. But there was an aspect of the teaching that had just confused that for me.
My apologies.
That's okay. Thank you.
Of course.
Yeah, for that.
Okay, thank you. So somebody said, so this is new to you? A lot of new things?
Not new.
Not new?
Different.
Some more details?
Yeah.
Yeah, more details. Well, good. See, here's the thing. Rabbis will teach that, hey, so all of us have an Esau and a Jacob inside.